Hey, what's up, truck fans? Justin here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we are diving into the MBRP Armor-Lite single exhaust setup available for your 09 to 18 5.7 Ram 1500. Now, you should be checking out the Armor-Lite system from MBRP if you're looking for one of the most affordable ways to really crank the sound on your Hemi at home, would prefer to stick with that single tailpipe configuration, and don't necessarily live in a very snowy or salty area. And we'll get more into that in a little bit, but first, let's just dive into that sound. Now, as you guys heard with our sound clips at the top of this video, this little MBRP single shooter is really bringing the heat with a pretty decent amount of bark overall. And that's something that is backed up with a lot of our customer reviews as well in the customer review section. Shout out to the customer reviews, check those out if you haven't done so already. Let's break out my Wake the Neighbor scale here, guys, and I'm gonna put the Armor-Lite up at a pretty soft 4 out of 5 on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. Now, a soft 4 is still a 4 at the end of the day, and that means this thing, again, is gonna have some pretty serious bark overall. Now, in true MBRP fashion, that aggressive noise does find its way inside the truck under hard acceleration, but that aggressiveness does fade above 60 miles an hour while cruising and kind of backing off the pedal a little bit. Now, MBRP does do a great job, in my opinion, of kind of balancing the loud and quiet moments here with their systems. And overall, I'm a pretty big fan because of that reason alone. However, again, at the end of the day, make no mistake, guys, this really isn't that quiet of a system, despite MBRP calling it their touring sound profile. It's still gonna bring the heat overall. So if you're looking to stay a little bit more quiet, maybe closer to stock, this might not be the system for you. Now, getting into the construction, and this is a great time to really break down the Armor-Lite name and more specifically talk about the point I made at the very top of this video with mentioning this really isn't a great choice for truck owners out there in those snowy or salty areas. Now, I say that because the Armor-Lite system from MBRP does utilize a full aluminized steel build here, guys, which will be great at keeping the cost down, but not so great at reducing or preventing corrosion long term, especially in those snowier climates that do see a lot of road salt during the winter months. Now, because of that, this system will only receive a 3-year limited warranty as opposed to a lifetime warranty that you'll so often see with a lot of MBRP's full stainless steel systems, such as the Armor Plus, which is gonna give you that 409 grade stainless, or the Armor Pro, which is gonna deliver that top of the line 304 grade stainless, both of which can also be found here on the site if you're interested. Now, materials aside, all of those systems I just mentioned will look and sound identical thanks to the consistent construction across the entire lineup. And this does include, in this case, the 3-inch mandrel bent tubing leading into and out of your straight through high performance, high flow muffler here from MBRP. This system does kick in some really nice band clamps to be used throughout the entire system. Obviously does incorporate all of the factory style hangers in all of the factory locations. And in this case, again, does kick in the single tip embossed with the MBRP logo. That is your lone piece of stainless steel here in this system. That's important because, listen, that's the part you're gonna see the most, of course, and that is a pretty sizable 4-inch dumping in that factory location right behind that passenger side rear tire. But moving into pricing, and this is where the Armor-Lite systems really do shine. Coming in at that mid to high $400 level, the MBRP aluminized stuff is pretty much consistently one of the more affordable options you're gonna find in the category for those Hemi owners out there looking to turn things up, but ultimately not break the bank. But now let's shift gears and get into the install segment here for this video, guys. Site's gonna call this a middle of the road 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you a couple of hours or so to complete from start to finish. But now let's throw it out to the guys in the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun, a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, a 15, a 16, and a 17 millimeter socket, a tape measure, a marker, a 3/8 drive ratchet, an 8 millimeter Allen head socket, possibly a dead blow hammer, exhaust hanger removal tool, some spray lubricant, some rubbing alcohol, and a clean cloth. Hi everyone, today we're installing an exhaust on our Ram, but first let's watch a short video on how to uninstall the stock exhaust on the truck.
we have to remove our factory system. That includes pulling both tailpipes on either side of the truck as well as the factory muffler. We're going to unbolt the tailpipes from the muffler first using a 15mm socket. That's going to allow us to pull the tailpipes off of the rubber isolators. All right, now that we have those two tailpipe clamps loosened on the muffler, we're going to go ahead and pull the tailpipes from the isolators. Once the tailpipes are pulled from the rubber isolators, that's going to give us enough leverage that we can kind of wriggle them out from the muffler itself, and then we can actually pull our muffler. All right, now that we have our driver's side tailpipe removed, we're going to do the same thing for the passenger side. The passenger side only has one hanger up here, makes it a little bit easier on us. All right, next we have to loosen the clamps securing our muffler to our flow tube here. That's also going to be a 15mm socket. With the clamp holding our muffler loosened, we're going to spray down our last two rubber isolators, and then we're going to pull the muffler from our mid-pipe. Now, if any of those rubber isolators are giving you a hard time, you can actually knock the muffler loose from the clamp that you loosened using a dead blow mallet. That'll give you enough leverage to pull it out of the rubber isolator.
Now, if you watched the uninstall video from earlier, you'll notice that we removed the exhaust from the muffler back. For this particular exhaust that we're installing, we do need to remove this mid-pipe as well. So to do that, you're going to need a ratchet and a 15mm socket, and you're going to loosen up this clamp right here, and then we're going to take it out of the isolators on the sides, and then we can remove this pipe, and then we can get to the actual install of our new system. And once you've got that loose, now we'll go ahead and remove it from these isolators on the side. And to do that, we're going to be using our exhaust hanger removal tool. And we're just going to clamp that on like so, squeeze it together, and get it out of the isolator. And we'll do the same thing for the rear one. And now we can go ahead and slide our pipe off. Now, because this kit is a semi-universal type of exhaust system, and I say semi-universal only depending on your cab and your bed configuration on your Ram, you may have to cut one of these pipes. Now, there's two of them provided. One of them is 31 inches, one of them is 32 inches long. The 31-inch long pipe is your front pipe. The 32-inch is your extension pipe. So what we're going to have to do is cut our front pipe to a specified length by the manufacturer based upon your cab configuration and your bed length. If you have a regular cab with a 6.5-foot bed, you're not going to need this front pipe at all. if you have a crew cab with a 6.5 foot bed, you're going to need the front pipe, but you're not going to have to cut it. Every other cab configuration and bed length will require us to cut this front pipe. And the recommended length by the manufacturer is to cut this pipe to 23 inches. So what we're going to do is we're just going to measure from the front end of our pipe, and we're going to mark it at the 23-inch mark. Now, once you've got it marked, however you choose to cut the pipe is up to you. We're going to use a chop saw on this to make it fast and easy. If you've got a Sawzall or a cutoff wheel, hacksaw, whatever you have available to cut the pipe, that's what you'll use. So let's go ahead and get this pipe cut, and then we can start the installation. All right, now we've already got our pipe set up inside our chop saw here. So we're just going to finish clamping it down. Make sure it doesn't move. Double check that the blade is where we want it to be in order to cut the pipe. Now we'll go ahead and cut our pipe. Now you'll notice after we've cut this pipe that there are some rough edges on the edge of the pipe. So we're going to go ahead and grind this off on the outside now, and then when we get back to our bay, we'll go ahead and deburr the inside as well to make sure that everything is going to fit the way we want it to fit when we go to install it. All right, now as you can see, we've got our cut pipe here all cleaned up and ready to go. So now we're just going to slide our 3-inch clamp over the larger end, making sure that our stud and our nut are on the top. And now we'll go ahead and insert this into our Y pipe that's still on the vehicle. Now we can go ahead and tighten this one down with our 15mm socket. Now we can go ahead and install our extension pipe along with the 2 hangers that go on the front here. Now we can slide our 3-inch clamp over our extension pipe. And slide that over our front pipe. Now we'll go ahead and tighten this clamp down as well using our 15mm socket. Now the 2 hangers that are going to go on these front isolators here are going to be assembled on top of the clamps that come in the kit. So the way that this works is you've got a keyhole on this bracket on the hanger that you're going to squeeze your clamp together, slide the large hole over the stud underneath the washer, but between the washer and the rocker arm. Once you've got that in place, then the hanger is going to go on like this. So we're going to slide that over our extension pipe and insert it into the isolator. Now you'll do the same thing for this rear one on the extension pipe. Now we can go ahead and tighten down our front clamp on this hanger here. We're going to leave the back one loose because that one's also going to attach the muffler to the extension pipe. So we'll go ahead and tighten down this front one using our 15mm socket. Now we go ahead and slide our muffler onto our extension pipe. And then we'll slide our clamp over the end of the muffler. Now you want this clamp to be right on the edge of the muffler itself. That way you'll get the best clamping capabilities. So now that we've got that installed, we can go ahead and tighten it down with our 15mm socket. Now we can install our over the axle pipe. So we're going to take one of our clamps, slide it onto the back of the muffler, and then we'll put our pipe over the axle, and then we're going to put these two hangers here into the isolators already behind the muffler. And we'll slide our over the axle pipe in until it seats. And now we can go ahead and tighten down this front clamp. Now we'll slide the clamp over the end of our tailpipe. And then we'll insert the hanger on the tailpipe into the isolator on the back of the truck here. Once we do that, then we can go ahead and slip our tailpipe over the over axle pipe, and then we can tighten this down. And finally, we can go ahead and install our tip. So we're just going to slide that over, and you can set it to whatever length that you prefer. We're going to put ours right about here, even with the edge of the bumper. And then we're going to use our 8mm Allen wrench head to go ahead and tighten this up. Now that we've got our system completely installed, I highly recommend that you use some rubbing alcohol and a clean cloth and clean off all of the polished areas on your exhaust. Otherwise, when you fire this up and it gets hot, any grease or oil that has been left on there from the installation process or from the manufacturing process is going to burn into there, and you may not be happy with the results. So just take a little bit of rubbing alcohol, put it on your cloth, and then just wipe it down real good. Remove all the fingerprints, any dirt or grease or oil that may be on your hands or on the part from shipping or manufacturing. And then once you've got it cleaned up, go ahead and fire up the truck and take her for a ride. And that wraps up our review and install of the MBRP ArmorLite single exhaust system with polished tip and side exit for the 2009 to 2018 5.7 liter Ram 1500. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.